So what did you guys think about the Spence Crawford fight? I mean,
I was disappointed. Uh, I made someone a little $5 bet and I lost. But
and still
we'll
haven't
see.
paid.
Yeah, I haven't paid you that $5 yet. I know. Uh, but I was disappointed because I really felt like Spence was going to do more. Um, and I don't want to use this as an excuse now, but afterwards, he definitely looked like he had neurological damage, you know. Uh, but not to take anything away from Crawford. Crawford is special, and he showed that.
Yeah, I mean, I would have the same takeaway. I mean, the only thing I would say, is that I was disappointed just because of how one-sided it was after all of sort of the build-up and the back and forth after so long. And I wonder to an extent, some of the things that, now again, I don't want to harp on just negative things, but is the fact that, these guys just, they're not active enough. They're not, competing enough. I mean, do we get fooled into thinking that Spence is more competitive than he really is at this point after what he's been through in his career and whatnot? I mean, I thought the match was horribly one sided, you know, for being theoretically a match between the top two or two of the top five pound for pound fighters in the world.
I
Let
mean,
me
looking at Spence's resume and Crawford's, they are the top two guys. And
Yeah, but when did
let me
Spence
ask you,
fight last?
Jesse. Jesse, let me ask you, since you and I made that wager, did you think it would be as lopsided as it was?
no,
Right.
no. I
Right.
thought there was a possibility that he could stop him, but way late, and it be competitive though in the beginning to where it's you're on the edge of your fucking seat. But
Yeah.
it
But
wasn't.
but
It was more of an awe.
Yeah. I agree.
let me play devil's advocate for a second here. Who was Spence's last win against?
Ugas,
Why did anybody care about Ugas? Who did he beat before he fought Spence in that fight?
Pacquiao,
How old was Pacquiao?
102. I mean,
I mean, like, I mean, really. And then who did Pacquiao beat to get to that fight with Ugas that anybody cared about?
Thurman.
That's
Yeah,
right. So
he just
we're
beat
playing
Thurman,
degrees of
and
freedom here. I mean,
Thurman was undefeated.
You really put my mind to work here.
but
Okay.
but like
But let's go
now,
before
so
let's go
so so
before.
that's 3 fights ago, and
Yeah.
now we have Clarissa Shields calling out Keith Thurman for a fight. I mean, maybe he wasn't really what we were thinking he was because of the BS involved with all
Yeah,
this.
but
He
let's
really
back.
put a number on Ugas.
But there again, you gotta look. Styles make fights. Look, let's go back. What about Danny Garcia? Okay, he beat Danny Garcia before that. And if you want to say Thurman isn't that much, who did Thurman have a battle with and he won a close decision against? Sean Porter,
Hmm.
who Porter went in with Crawford and was in the fight up until he got stopped. So,
I mean, that the fight between Porter and Crawford wasn't nearly as competitive
oh
as
no,
Porter and Spence.
that was tight. Do you remember that, Jesse?
Yeah, Porter and Spence
Porter
was a
and
split
Thurman.
decision.
Yeah, that was close.
Well, right, but we're saying Porter and Thurman, but I'm saying
But
like
Porter and Thurman was close too.
Yeah,
sure, but then when Porter fought Crawford, that wasn't that competitive.
Sure, it was. It was very close until Crawford stopped him.
yeah. Crawford's corner even told him at one point that they thought he was down, and he was
Yeah,
like, "What? I'm down."
and
And
then
then
he
he
went
went
out.
and
I think
dropped
he
him
went out the next round and dropped him
and
the
dropped
second
him.
round.
Yeah,
So styles make fights. That's why you have to wonder though, as well, how damaged was Thurman really? People always talked about the accident and whatnot, and
Spence.
I didn't want to believe it because he beat Danny Garcia after the accident. He beat Ugas after the accident. I personally didn't want to believe it, but based on his performance and how he talked afterwards, I'm thinking maybe he did have neurological damage. I mean, his head looked like he had lumps all over his top of his forehead. Like it just didn't look right. I mean, he was looping
But
someone with all that amateur experience, with Olympic experience, to loop his left hand the way he was looping his left hand and falling off balance just didn't look right. And I don't say all that to take anything away from Crawford. Crawford did what he was supposed to do. But would you agree, Jesse? I mean, you were a Crawford fan, but would you agree that Spence just didn't look right?
Yeah, he did not look like against Ugas. He looked sharp. He was doing the Spence thing, and he just did not like how Crawford said he took away the jab. That was their whole plan.
Right.
He once that jab was taken away, he couldn't. He looked lost. There was a
Yeah.
point where he just looked lost in there, like I don't know what to do.
And that was early after the first round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. He landed one good shot, I believe, in the first round on Crawford, and maybe it was the second round. But then after that,
Yeah,
it
you're
was he
talking about the
didn't.
overhand. You're talking about the overhand left.
And then that's all he was trying to throw again.
That's it. Yep. And it was looping. It was sloppy.
Yeah.
He was falling over. It was bad. So that being said, you got to look at it, but it's I think that's what the end result was. But who none of us will probably know unless it comes out. Uh, so who knows?